Yo everyone, thanks for joining me once again for Larry's full card betting guide. This weekend we have UFC Fight Night Paris and Imavov vs Borralho to look forward to, and I am keen to go through some of my own bets and ideas for betting opportunities for the card. If you guys do want to know how I went on the last fight night though, and all my thoughts on that event, my full card recap and reaction is linked in the description of this video. But to move on to this week, I'll be going through absolutely everything in this betting guide, from who I picked to win each fight, my own strong favorites and solid underdogs, my favorite lock of the card and underdog lock of the card, and to finish off, I will walk you guys through all my own personal bets, just so you can see what I've decided to do with all the research I've put into this card. This fight night will be the second ever fight night that I will be live streaming a fight companion for, so make sure you have your notification bell on for my channel so you don't miss out on that fight night companion. I am also going to be doing a face reveal on this weekend's stream to celebrate 1K subscribers and hitting that goal. I appreciate it a lot. I'm hoping it makes the fight companion more fun to watch as well for you all. And if that all sounds like something you are interested in seeing, make sure to come drop in and say hi. Always happy to have a chat with anyone who drops in. As always though, for the betting guides, timestamps are in the description and the comment section below if you guys want to skip to anything in particular. So without further ado, let's jump into it. What you're looking at here are the lists of favorites and underdogs for the entire card, and like I always say, this is just to show you guys who I actually ended up picking to win on this card, and how many of those picks were underdogs and favorites. If you haven't come here from my full card predictions and breakdown video for this card, where I talk in detail about all my reasoning for all my fighter picks, please go and check that video out if you want some additional information on why I've made the picks that I've made. And if you have come from that video, guys, like I always say, thanks for supporting the channel and watching both the videos. I will now highlight in green who my picks were for this card, and as you can see, I actually did go pretty crazy on this card in terms of picking underdogs. I almost ended up picking 50-50 picks in terms of picking favorites and dogs, and that's just because I truly believe a lot of these underdogs can win their fights. I will mention though that I did choose Ante Delia as an underdog, and now I believe he has flipped to being the favorite, which I do think is pretty crazy. And also, I believe that I was told that Fares versus Kaue Fernandes is officially off, and this is just sadly because Fares had to take time away because of a sudden passing of his grandmother, I believe it was. So wishing him all the best there during a rough thing to experience for anyone, honestly. But with that being said, that fight is being replaced with Kaue Fernandes now versing UFC newcomer in Hardwick, and I haven't even discussed who I'm picking in that new matchup to win, so I will quickly give you guys my prediction and breakdown for that fight before we get into my strong favorites and solid underdog section of the video. And to make this prediction relatively short and concise for you guys, I will be going with Kaue Fernandes to get it done here over Hardwick. I just think that Hardwick isn't as great as the hype behind him, and that is no disrespect to him at all. The guy has great cardio, he pushes an insane pace while walking down his opponents, but the thing is, and this is something you notice about Hardwick as well when you watch his fights, the dude literally has like 0 KO power, and if you actually watch his finishes, you'll see why he got them. Like, I believe he got a standing TKO against his opponent, like when the opponent was exhausted from the pace in like a 5-round fight as well. And in the other fight where he got a finish early on, granted, I believe he was winning against Orlando Prince, and I do believe he would have won that fight anyway, but he did eye poke Prince right before the finishing sequence, and Prince literally just dropped from the eye poke itself, and the ref just allowed him to get the ground and pound TKO. I don't see him getting a KO over Kaue Fernandes in this matchup, guys. I also don't see him having much success on the feet, at least as much as he does with people like Cage Warriors. Kaue Fernandes might have been one of the more tougher matchups he could have gotten in his UFC debut, because most guys Hardwick has been versing tend to plant their feet and swing at him, allowing them to get tired in the first couple of rounds whilst he keeps the pressure on. Kaue Fernandes can go the full 3 rounds. Kaue will be the bigger and more physical fighter in this matchup, and it's a significant factor to mention because Hardwick is taking this fight on short notice in the lightweight division when he's usually a smaller framed, skinnier featherweight. I just don't see this going well for Hardwick, guys. I think he gets hit way more than you'd like as well for a guy versing a lot of regional fighters, and I think he relies super heavily on wearing down his opponents and destroying them with his pace and cardio rather than brute forcing them with power shots. So I am going to go with Kaue Fernandes to win this fight. I'm going to say he wins it by decision, 30-27 on damage, but I could actually see him hurting Hardwick in this fight early on if he tries to pressure Fernandes the same way he's pressured fighters in the past. And I just don't think you can do that to high-level strikers in the UFC or to Kaue Fernandes in that matter. That's my prediction for the short notice fight, guys. I do think Kaue Fernandes could get that upset KO as well by hurting Harry Hardwick. This now means that you guys have seen all my picks for this card, so let's move on now to my strong favorites and solid underdog section of the video. And as you can see here for my strong favorites section, I've picked Sam Hughes, William Gomez, Modestas Bukauskas, and Mauricio Rufy. I also personally feel really good about Mason Jones if I had to add one more here. I honestly think all the guys that I've just named, maybe apart from Sam Hughes, I could honestly see them getting finishes in their fight on top of getting the win. The numbers next to the fighters' names are just the return you'll get on them if you were to bet on them. So for example, if you were to bet $100 on Mauricio Rufy to win, it would net you a profit of $51 overall. And for my American viewers, when he has the minus 196 next to his name, that's how much money you have to bet on the fighter to win $100 profit on your bet. Let's now jump into the solid underdogs I've chosen for this card. I've personally chosen Rinat Fakhretdinov, Rhys McKee, Ante Dalia, and Nasruddin Imavov as my picks for solid underdogs on this card. I do really think all these guys have a good chance of getting it done this weekend because of so many factors. I think Rinat Fakhretdinov will not only have a good chance at catching Gustafsson on the feet in their fight, but he will also most likely be able to reverse position on him in the clinch and get him down to the ground to work his own grappling game in their fight. I do believe he can work his grappling. I honestly feel incredibly confident about Rhys McKee as well. As much as you can feel confident about an underdog in general, Ante Dalia will have the stand-up advantage in his fight against Marcin Tybura, and he also has his own offensive grappling on top of that all too, which is insanely good for him. And lastly, Nasruddin Imavov has just as much chance as Kaue Borralho to win their fight together, if not more. That's going to be one to watch. If you guys do want to know more in general about all these picks and all my other fighter picks, like I've already said earlier in the video, go check out my full card predictions and breakdown of every single fight on this card. I'll put a link to it somewhere here on the video. It should be in the top right corner of this video or in the video description. Now we are onto my locks of the card section. This weekend, I have ended up choosing Modestas Bukauskas as my favorite lock of the card. And honestly, guys, I was really close to putting Mauricio Rufy here, and I still do feel very confident in Rufy to get it done. But Modestas Bukauskas has literally nothing to worry about at all on the feet in this fight and literally just has to remain standing to almost guarantee a victory and or finish for himself. That's how confident I am in his striking when compared to Paul Craig's, and that's why Modestas Bukauskas is my lock of the card for the favorites. Let's move on now to my underdog lock of the card, and as you guys know, I have quite a few people that I could choose from since I picked so many underdogs outright this week. But if you guys have been paying attention to my other videos, I have been pretty outspoken about how good I feel about Rhys McKee as an underdog. I do think he can get the finish here as well by KO. I do think he just has so many advantages going into this fight. He'll have the height and reach advantage. His opponent is taking this fight on short notice, up a weight class, and he's probably the harder hitter of the two in general, Rhys McKee is. He almost seems like a no-brainer pick as an underdog, which just seems crazy. That's my reasoning for picking Rhys McKee as my underdog lock of the card, guys. Moving on now to the high risk, high reward section of the video, and this section is where I highlight one fighter on the card that I think has completely juiced odds relative to their chances of winning. It could be a fighter I haven't even necessarily picked to win in my predictions video, but it's someone that I think has a better chance to succeed than the odds makers do say. This week, I have ended up choosing someone that I did end up picking as an underdog in Trey Waters to get it done in his fight. I truly believe he can get the win, the upset win over Sam Patterson. And I think starting off as a high-risk bet, Trey Waters' money line doesn't seem too bad for me. It doesn't really even seem like a high-risk bet, but it does pay out quite well. I do think he can win this fight. I think he can win it by many things. I think he can win it by decision. I think he can win it by KO. I think he does pretty well here, guys. For a very high-risk bet, though, I think a win by decision is not out of the question. I think he outdamages Sam Patterson on the feed. I think he looks better than Sam Patterson on the feed overall. And I think overall he is going to be one of the taller and lankier guys that Sam Patterson has had to verse. And I think it's going to cause him a lot of troubles on the feet when he's trying to close the distance, especially from the kicks of Trey Waters and the tricky style he has with the leading his head into the opponents and trying to bait out counter shots. It's going to cause a lot of issues for Sam Patterson, in my opinion. As an insane bet, though, I do have a win by KO in round one, but It is a very insane bet, guys. I do think he can hurt Sam Patterson at some points in this fight to potentially get the KO, but I wouldn't personally jump on this bet. Maybe a KO bet outright for a plus 400 is not bad. Personally, I would go for the safe-ish bet that I've chosen. If you guys have been watching the videos for a while, you know what I'm going to put here. I have got Trey Waters plus 3.5 rounds as a spread bet. I do think that's the safest option here. I do see him clearly getting 1 round in this fight. I also don't see him really getting finished unless he somehow gets his back taken and gets submitted in this fight, but he's got quite good takedown defense, so I do think he will avoid the submission to get close to a decision in this fight. I'm just currently waiting on Bet365 to have this bet available, but that's the bet that I would personally go with. That's it for that section of the video, guys. Let's now move on to the personal bets I have on this card, and here they all are for you guys, my current personal bets I have on this card, so you can check them all out. There are many different types of bets here, as you can see, so I'll have to run you through all of them now. The hidden bet in white is the subscribers bet of the week, and I'll reveal it right now for you guys. I have actually ended up choosing this person here, and as you can see, the parlay is Mauricio Rufy moneyline plus Brad Tavares and Robert Bieszczak to go over 2.5 rounds. I am a little worried about Brad Tavares and Robert Bieszczak potentially getting a little too scrappy early on, but overall, I do think it is a solid bet. That bet has now been added to the guide, and thank you to the subscriber who commented this bet, and thanks to everyone in general who's just been supporting my videos and posting their own bets in the comments. I appreciate you all. If you do want to be the subscribers bet of the week for the next betting guide and featured in my videos, please leave your comments in the comment section of my next prediction and breakdown video for your chance to be featured in that week's betting guide. I'll start reading out the bets now though. We can start with the prop section. We've got the subscribers bet of the week, of course, here. It is the parlay at the top I've already mentioned. I've also got Axel Sola and Reese McKee to go under 2.5 rounds, and for some reason I just see this happening, guys. Reese doesn't get as much credit as he should for the finisher that he is, and I do think he potentially gets the KO here as an underdog, but this bet is just in case they get maybe a little bit too scrappy and Sola manages to hurt him, potentially like finish him on the ground. Next, we have Modestas Bukauskas to win in round 1 by KO, and this really should happen as long as Modestas Bukauskas doesn't try to get tricky with Paul Craig and go to the ground with him. This should be an easy TKO on the feet in the first round, in my opinion. Next, I have a same game multi/parlay with Mauricio Rufy by KO plus the fight to go under 1.5 rounds. I feel very confident in Mauricio Rufy to put away Benoit Saint-Denis in this fight, just because of how open Benoit is on the feet, but it is a little bit of a riskier one because it is in the first round and a half. I do also have my main card parlay here, and it is going to be changing with the odds since I do believe Kaue Fernandes versus Ferez is void, so I'll calculate and change the winnings for you guys if it does end up cashing on fight night with that fight voided. My parlay now consists of Losine Keita, Mason Jones, Modestas Bukauskas, Mauricio Rufy, and Nasruddin Imavov. And lastly, guys, for the prop side of the guide, I do have massive bets on 2 parlays. These fighters are really just the fighters that I have the most confidence in on this card, and I did just decide to take a pretty big risk this weekend since I normally would bet around 1 unit on both of these parlays. I've got Sam Hughes parlayed with William Gomez, and I've got Modestas Bukauskas parlayed with Mauricio Rufy. Now to move over to the main bets I have on the right side. These are all my single fighter bets plus an extra pop I had this week since the left side as always seems to be pretty packed. I've got my underdog lock of the card in Reese McKee as a bet, and I've already explained a lot on why that is earlier in this video, so I won't break this down again. I'll save you guys some time. I've also got a bet on Trey Waters, and I really do think he can win this fight on the feet, and he has some pretty solid takedown defense to avoid the ground game of Sam Patterson. I've also got a bet on Rinat Fakhretdinov, and I just think he's overall a solid underdog and has a solid chance to win by decision or even by KO against Andreas Gustafsson. Same thing for my next bet with Nasruddin Imavov. I think his odds flipped, and now he's just a flat-out solid underdog with a great chance of getting the win this weekend. Mason Jones also just seems like an insanely solid bet too as a favorite since his line has actually been getting closer and closer for some reason, so I did put a unit on him. And lastly, I do have a very risky bet on a 4-fighter parlay since it did contain boosted odds from Bet365, so it includes Marcin Tybura, Omar Sy, William Gomez, and Losine Keita. It is a riskier one though, guys, for sure. That's why I did put a little bet on it in particular, but that is it for my bets this weekend, guys. So good luck to everyone watching this video with your bets for this card. That's it for Larry's full card betting guide for UFC Paris and Imavov versus Borralho. If you guys like the videos and want to see more of it, please let me know in the comments below, and make sure you like the video, of course. Thanks for watching though, guys, and see you guys next time.